What is good, YouTube? And today we're going to be talking about, in my opinion, one of the best supports for shell farming. Now this character will make your shell farming life a lot easier because he will enable a ton of speed farming and one-shot teams, and he's also going to be an R character, and it's going to be Rengokutsu. Now his skill investment is pretty low as well. All you really need is his S3 max to actually utilize him. Of course, you do want to actually max his S1 at least to level 4 because you get speed, and this will actually make him a little bit easier to build, but it's definitely not necessary. The reason why he's so good at speed farming is because he has this AoE turn meter push that also stuns, which is very good. And in a lot of shell fights, there's going to be a lot of bosses with a lot of minions, so this is going to have extremely high value. And you also have the ability to 100% turn meter push an ally and give them an attack buff and reduce the cooldown of their skills. So this is very, very good when you pair him with any hard-hitting damage dealer with a very strong S3, such as Lilium or Diding or even Yelly. So because of this, it enables him to be a very, very powerful support in shell comps, and you can actually run 3-man comps with him because of the fact that he does 2 things at once. Actually 3. So he AoE CCs the minions so that they don't really interrupt your turns, and also he can turn meter push an ally, and he can also buff them and reduce their skill cooldown, which is amazing. So basically, he can buff your team, your DPS, while controlling the enemy minions, making it so that if you pair him with any damage dealer with a defense down character like Kloss or Dyna, these 3 characters can usually kill any single shell boss, except maybe like Rengokutsu and Sharon. So for the most part, he's amazing at speed clearing. Even for Rengokutsu and Sharon, he can be used there, and he's very, very powerful. You just have to bring in a 4th member. And he's pretty easy to build in the fact that he is very straightforward. You just build him on full speed, and then you want him on effect accuracy to land the stun and the turn meter pushback. For your shell, you can run him on Codex for some bosses, depending if you want the double stun. If you don't need the double stun and you just need him to push up right after, you don't run him on Codex. You'll probably run him on anything else that has Swift Rush and Swift Raid or Swift Smite, and it'll probably be fine. But for the most part, Codex is really good because you can CC chain the ads for a very, very long time. Now, to kind of put things into perspective how he works, I'll show you guys him in my Niconana 3-man comp that I actually run. And basically, I'll show you guys the stats in a separate video, but he starts off, pushes back all the minions so they can't defense down and do annoying debuffs. And he'll be able to do it again right after, giving my Lilium enough time to cycle to her S2. And you're going to see in the case that if your Lilium can't kill, like mine, you can just push up right after. And then you could see that she can actually finish off right after before the ads even take a turn. So you can kind of see why Kachi's so good in Niconana, but Niconana is a pretty easy boss. So let's actually look at some of the harder bosses out there. So here I'll showcase him in Sharon. So I actually showed this team on my channel if you want to see an in-depth guide. But it's pretty much the same premise where he is going to be crowd controlling the ads at the beginning. And he is on Codex on this boss as well because I really need him to stop the ads from dotting my team here, because the boss does decent damage, but the ads do a lot as well. For some reason my game disconnected, but we're back. And you can see with the Codex, he will push back the ads once again and stun them. He misses 1, but it's okay. He will make it to the point where he can push up my DPS, I believe. You can see S3 again, the boss doesn't die, so similar to Niconana, what ends up happening is he pushes my Lilium before the boss detonates the dots and kills me. So you can see he's very, very good in Sharon one-shot teams as well. And if you want to see a guide on this, I have it on my channel. So I'm going to show you guys him in my Shadow Flame Hoyan team. Basically does the same thing. He's going to CC the ads on Codex, which will make my team have a lot of time to actually get their burst off. Lilium will then S3. Do a ton of damage, and then we push back once again, and then we will also reapply erosion. You can see the boss also is able to get pushed back, which is very good. My Dyna dies, but it doesn't matter, and then my Lilium will finish off the boss right here. So you can see he's also very, very good in Shadow Flame Hoyan, and he is going to also be good in Rengokutsu, which I'll show you right now. So I'll show you guys how it works in Rengokutsu as well. Basically, he pushes back the ads with his S3, and then my Kloss will start stacking the debuffs. And of course, we will have our Lilium go into the boss here and do as much damage as she possibly can. The boss will counterattack us and do some damage, but we have Artisan Shield from Lily because we're stacking elements, which is pretty much required. And then I will push back once again, reapply the defense down, and then Lilium will S3 because Lily S3 for the Lilium here. And then we S1, and then Kachi should push up and almost kill the boss. Now, whoever the boss hits, doesn't matter because they will live, and we also have Lilium able to execute again. So, this is the speed team that I use for Rengokutsu and going through a ton of energy. It's not going to be 100% obviously, but in terms of speed runs, it's going to be a high win rate because Kachi is able to speed up the run a lot by being able to CC the ads to make the runs, 1, very stable, and 2, he can push up your DPS after his second S3, which lines up perfectly with Lily's S3 as well. And we'll just showcase her with, we'll showcase Kachi with Lilium in Terrormaton as well. You can see that this is another one-shot comp that is pretty simple. You just, dispel the immunity. And basically, the premise is kind of the same, except you don't really stun the ads in this as much because they have immunity. But it does work sometimes. It does help sometimes in other areas of content, as you saw with shell bosses. But the biggest thing is that he is able to help push the boss very easily, which is very, very important here. You can see now my Lilium will get pushed by Dorothy, and then she just took her turn, and then the reason why Kachi's so good is because he can help Lilium take a turn right after with the 100% turn meter push. So you can kind of see why she is also very good to pair with Kachi, and why Kachi is just an amazing one-shot comp enabler in not just shells, but also Terrormaton and also Aurora, which I'll showcase in a separate video because it's more complicated. But that is Red Kachi, guys. You can see that he's a very good one-shot comp enabler. He works in literally every single shell boss, and because he's an R unit, he doesn't really require that much investment. Like I said, all you need is S3 maxed, and ideally S1 to level 4, because you do want this extra speed from the prowess because it will help building him a lot. He is going to be hard to get fast because his base speed is very low, so I recommend also 6-starring him to make it easier. Mine's only 5-star, but I'm kind of making up for it with my gear. So if you're struggling to meet the speed requirements for these bosses, try starring him up because you do get a decent amount of speed from that. And yeah, just put him on a Codex or Jackal Guard depending on the boss, and he will be able to set up your DPS very, very easily as long as you have a character that can apply defense down like Kloss or Dyna. Pretty much it for this video though, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below what character you want to see me showcase next.